wind cut through the skeletal trees like whispers of ghosts. Rain fell in thin, icy needles against the broken sidewalks of the small Oregon town. A man sat beneath a flickering streetlight, wrapped in an old army jacket with patches that had long lost their meaning. His name was Tommy Hale, a homeless veteran who once carried pride in his chest and purpose in his eyes. Now, all he carried was a weathered duffel bag and the weight of memories he couldn't forget. He looked down at his trembling hands, fingers calloused and raw from the cold. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. The world had forgotten him. And for the first time in years, he started to wonder if maybe he should forget it too. That's when he heard it, a low, desperate whimper cutting through the rain. He turned his head, squinting through the mist. From the alley, a small, mud-covered dog limped toward him, dragging one hind leg. Its fur was matted, one ear torn, but its eyes, those eyes, were full of pain and trust all at once. The dog stopped in front of Tommy, shivering, and then collapsed. Without thinking, Tommy dropped his duffel and knelt beside the creature. Hey, easy there, buddy," he murmured, his voice trembling. "You're hurt bad, huh?" The dog's tail gave a weak wag as if to say thank you for noticing me. Tommy tore a strip from his jacket and wrapped it gently around the dog's bleeding paw. His fingers shook, not from the cold this time, but from something warmer, something he hadn't felt in years. Compassion. He lifted the dog into his lap, feeling its fragile ribs press against his arm. "You're not dying tonight, soldier," he whispered. And just like that, the broken man and the broken dog found each other. If this story touches your heart already, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Keenness. Your support helps us share more stories of hope, compassion, and second chances. Tommy named the dog Scout. Over the next few days, they became inseparable. Scout followed him everywhere, under bridges, to soup kitchens, through the endless gray streets. The dog's limp didn't stop him from walking beside Tommy, tail wagging proudly like a soldier's flag. People started noticing them, the man and the dog who never left each other's side. Sometimes a stranger would hand Tommy a sandwich, sometimes a few coins. But more often they just passed by. Still, Scout gave Tommy something priceless, a reason to wake up each morning. One evening, as the last light bled across the sky, Scout tugged at Tommy's sleeve. The dog barked once, then twice, and began limping toward the edge of town. "Where you going, buddy?" Tommy asked, but Scout didn't stop. Something about the dog's urgency stirred a deep instinct in him, the same instinct that once guided him through combat zones and jungles overseas. So he followed. Scout led him through a thicket of overgrown bushes, down a narrow trail behind the old lumber mill. The forest swallowed the sounds of the town until all that was left was the crunch of their footsteps and the occasional call of an owl. After nearly an hour, they came to a clearing. At first, Tommy saw nothing but tangled weeds and a mound of earth. But then, Scout began pawing at the ground. Tommy bent down and brushed away leaves and dirt, and froze. Beneath the moss was a rusted metal hatch. "What in the—" he muttered, kneeling to wipe away decades of grime. The hatch was marked with faded lettering, USRMY, 1944. PRPTY off Cam V. Tommy's pulse quickened. He'd never heard of such a place. He looked at Scout, who barked once as if urging him on. "Wes, we're going down the rabbit hole." "Ha!" The hatch creaked open after a few good pulls, revealing a ladder leading into darkness. The air that rose up smelled of dust, oil, and history. With Scout tucked in his jacket, Tommy descended. The flashlight on his phone cast a pale circle across the underground chamber. Rusted metal walls surrounded him, lined with old lockers, ration boxes, and faded propaganda posters that still whispered, "Courage under fire." He moved deeper, brushing away cobwebs. The silence was heavy, too heavy. Then, his beam caught something on the wall, a photo board covered in black and white pictures, soldiers smiling, arms slung over each other's shoulders. And right in the center, a nameplate that made Tommy's heart stop. Captain Leonard Hale. His grandfather. Tommy stumbled backward, breath catching in his throat. No way. He had never met his grandfather, only heard stories from his father before he, too, passed. Leonard Hale was a decorated W officer who vanished during a classified mission. Never found, presumed dead. And now here he was, immortalized on a hidden wall beneath the forest. Tommy's hands trembled as he reached for a nearby trunk. The lock was old, rusted, but it gave way with a sharp snap. Inside lay military journals, medals, and a sealed envelope marked with a single word, family. He sat down on the cold floor, Scout resting his head on Tommy's knee, and opened the letter. Chor, if you are reading this, it means someone in our bloodline found what I couldn't finish. This camp was built as a safe house, not for war, but for peace. Inside these walls are documents, supplies, and plans meant to rebuild, not destroy. My men and I swore to protect it, but we never made it out. If you carry my name, then carry my mission. Don't let this world forget what hope looks like. Tears blurred the words. Tommy pressed the letter to his chest. His whole life he'd felt lost, abandoned by his country, by his purpose. But now he understood. This wasn't just a discovery, it was destiny. Over the next few weeks, Tommy returned to the camp every day. He cleaned it, restored power to a few working lamps, and read through every page of his grandfather's journals. Inside, he found detailed blueprints for a veteran's shelter, plans that were never realized because of the war. With Scout by his side, Tommy decided to finish what Captain Leonard Hale had started. He reached out to a local historian who helped verify the site. News spread quickly: a hidden WW2 camp, uncovered by a homeless veteran and his injured dog. The story made headlines. Donations poured in. Volunteers showed up to help. The camp was transformed into Camp Resolve, a shelter for homeless veterans. The same walls that once echoed with war now resonated with laughter, healing, and second chances. Tommy became the camp's director. Scout, now healthy and strong, was its mascot, a symbol of survival and loyalty. If you've followed Tommy and Scout's journey this far, take a second to like, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Keenness. Every small act of support helps us bring more real and inspiring stories to life. 1 year later, Tommy stood outside Camp Resolve beneath a fluttering flag. The sun broke through the clouds, painting the world in gold. He looked down at Scout, who sat proudly by his side. "Wes, we did it, buddy," he said softly. "We found our purpose again." The wind carried the faint sound of laughter from inside, the laughter of veterans rebuilding their lives, of hope reborn in forgotten souls. Tommy gazed toward the forest, where the hatch still lay hidden under moss and thyme. Somewhere, he felt his grandfather was watching. "Proud? Mission accomplished, sir," he whispered. And as Scout barked joyfully, the camera panned up to the sky. Sunlight spilling over the camp like a blessing, leaving viewers with the undeniable truth, even in the darkest corners of the world. Kindness has a way of finding the lost and leading them home.